Digital priorities are clearer than ever for our businesses, our customers, our citizens. But the path to get there is still too complex. Employees and applications are everywhere, and the threat environment is always changing. What are the best strategies to connect and protect it all? Together, we'll explore ways to simplify, secure, and move faster. Connect to the future of networking and security. Welcome to Cloudflare Connect 2023.
Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. This is one of my favorite events that we get to do all around the world in different regions and different countries. And I always have a really soft spot for doing this in New York because we have so many incredible customers here. We've got a bunch of tracks which we're going to be going through today, looking at all of the different ways that Cloudflare can protect your business. A lot of our product managers, a lot of our engineers are here, want to meet with you, want to talk to you, want to hear what's going really well with Cloudflare, but what we also want to hear are what we can do better, because we're always trying to be a better company, helping you build your business, helping you build the networks that you need in order to stay connected, fast, reliable, and secure online no matter what you're doing. I'm proud of the fact that today, over a third of the Fortune 500 are already Cloudflare customers, and a bunch of you are represented here in this room. 6 of the 10 largest companies in the world rely on our network in order to be fast, secure, and reliable all around the world. And here's a representative of some of the people who are here today listening to Connect. And not only do I hope that you meet with our team, but I hope you get a chance to talk with each other and learn how you are all using Cloudflare in order to build the network that you need in order to run your business all around the world. As I think about the challenges that networks bring, sometimes, unfortunately, I think a lot of people think, gosh, I wish we could just go back to the way the world was before. Sometimes it feels like the internet just brings nothing but problems to all of our businesses. And when we think about what we're doing at Cloudflare, we're always working to try and figure out how we can make that challenge and all the problems that the internet brings actually into opportunities and essentially redesign that network in order to be the network that empowers you to do your business better, not just a place where challenges come. If we look at that, though, incredible amounts of things have changed just in the last 3 years. 58% of employees globally today are able to work remotely from time to time. And that changes how we have to do our businesses. We can't rely on making sure that everyone comes into a certain building, and when you're in that building, you're trusted. We know that employees are going to be doing their work from around the world. They're going to be doing their work from a myriad of different devices. And that means that whether you like it or not, the network is a critical part of making sure that your business continues to be able to operate. 85% of applications that businesses are using by 2025 are going to be SaaS applications. And again, what's challenging is a lot of these companies do their work really well. They have security policies, they have privacy policies, they want to make sure they're available online. But if you're trying to stitch together a bunch of different SaaS applications, challenge is how do you have one consistent control plane that gives you the visibility and control that you need in order to deliver what it is that you have to guarantee from the security and privacy of your employees, of your customers, of all of the stakeholders in your business. This is a real challenge, and again, a place where Cloudflare shines at making sure you have one consistent control plane across your entire network. 43% of employees are using AI tools, and in the most cases, they're not even telling employers about it. And this is, of course, something that has burst on the scene. There's a ton of opportunity, but if you think about the fact that your customer data is getting uploaded to some nebulous AI system to train who knows what, that's a real challenge for businesses, which is emerging and something that we're staying on top of, and you're going to be hearing a lot more about us, making sure that we give you the control as you're taking advantage of what AI can deliver, but making sure that you're not leaking your sensitive corporate data out to the rest of the world, because this is a real risk that is emerging, and we're staying on top of it. And 82% of US and UK organizations have a multi-cloud strategy in one way or not. Whether you want to be multi-cloud or not, the reality is that you have to be. You end up using different cloud providers no matter what, whether it's because you make an acquisition that's using a different provider, whether it's because some of your SaaS applications live on a different cloud provider. The reality is that no company today at any scale is all in exclusively on any one provider. And the challenge is, again, you need to have one consistent control plane in order to be able to really understand how you're making sure that you have that control over how your applications are run, how your data is run, and how you're able to deliver services across that entire cloud. Cloudflare gives you that ability as the neutral cloud provider to actually focus on connectivity and how you interconnect those clouds together. In fact, we're the only cloud provider that thinks about connectivity as our first and primary purpose. Our goal is not to just slurp all your data in and hold it hostage. Our goal is to make sure that you can do what you need to do with your applications, with your data, with whatever it is that you need to do in order to drive your business, and provide that in a way that works regardless of where those applications and that data lives. Today, there's a 29% increase in public cloud spend. Again, we all see that, but what's important here is what's changed, which is that a lot of people have gone from just saying, go, 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 spend, 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 to how can we get the highest ROI out of our cloud providers. So what I think is actually shocking about this number is not that it's so high, but that it's so low. Because what we hear from customer after customer after customer is that they want to say, how can we be smarter about how we're spending our money? How can we be smarter about reducing our AWS or Google Cloud or Microsoft Azure bill? How can we be smarter about the resources that we're spending? And at Cloudflare, we're constantly working to try and figure out how we can make sure that your cloud spend isn't just going up and up and up. How we can make sure you're not just adding vendor on top of vendor on top of vendor. How we can make sure that we're delivering the most ROI to all of our customers and that you're getting the most out of this spend. Because budgets are harder today. IT dollars are more scarce. Your CFO is saying, I need to review every single deal that we're doing, and we want to be your partner in order to help you reduce your cloud spending costs and make them more efficient over time. 65% of the traffic across the internet is API traffic, and if you look at Cloudflare, what's astonishing is this is about the percentage of API traffic which is passing through our network. We are constantly working with our customers to make sure that they can be safe and reliable online, and the ways of the past web aren't good enough anymore. You have to have a modern network that can stay in front of all of this, make sure that you're secure, protect yourself from bots and other attacks, and make sure that those APIs are reliable because of all of the different providers, both internally and externally, that are relying on those in order for you to do your business. There are 23 separate instances of third-party code on the median desktop website, right? And so again, that's a real challenge because if any one of those third parties is compromised, that potentially compromises your business. And it's something that, again, is something that a lot of people aren't thinking about nearly as clearly. And we want to make sure that we can help you make sure that that traffic is and those resources are all secure and provided for. 25% of Log4j downloads were vulnerable 1 year later after the vulnerability was disclosed. That's crazy, right? This is a huge vulnerability that the White House literally stood up and said, this is one of the top priorities to us fix, and yet 25% of the time that these software is being downloaded, it is still vulnerable today. And the challenge is that for you to stay on top of every single vulnerability that's out there is just a Herculean task. And that's why we're so excited to partner with you to make sure that we are the ones that are helping you have that first line of defense. So even if you have bad code running somewhere on your network, we're going to stop it from being exploited, and we're effectively patching the internet on your behalf. 75% of businesses, again, are trying to consolidate their IT spend through different vendors, and the theme that I hope that you'll get out of today is that we can be that provider, we can be that vendor that helps you think about how can you consolidate more behind Cloudflare. One of the things that I am so struck by when I talk to our customers is how almost everyone uses us for a different segment of our products. And you're going to hear today how many of our customers are adopting product after product after product, where we have 5 or 6 products on average that a customer is spending. But what we see from our most successful customers is that they're able to take our tools, use it as one consistent control plane across their entire network, and deliver what is an extremely high ROI value for protecting your network and making it secure online. And more customers are saying, we effectively want to turn to Cloudflare to be our network, to be our provider, in order to be secure and reliable no matter what you're doing. And so we want to tackle all of these various challenges and make you more successful in your business. And one of the things that we launched at RSA this year is how we think about our business, which is the idea of everywhere security. Cloudflare wants to be everywhere in order to help make sure that no matter how you are using networks in your business, we can make them more secure. And that really sums up how we think about Cloudflare's overall value proposition, which is we want to, anywhere you touch the network, make it more secure, make it more reliable, make it faster, make it more efficient, give it more privacy, and that is the value that we are delivering. So today, somewhere between 20 and 25% of the web sits behind our network, and we're incredibly proud of the fact that so much of the web trusts us for it. But more and more APIs, more and more individual businesses, more and more employees sit behind our network as well. And because of the fact that so much of the web uses us, because of the fact that so much of the rest of the internet is starting to use us, that means that we can deliver more value to us over time. We're also able to deliver this incredibly fast. We are within 15 milliseconds of over 95% of the world's population. The vast majority of cities today that have over 1 million people have a Cloudflare presence in it. So whether you're in Kigali, Rwanda, or you're in Indonesia, or you're in mainland China, or you're in Europe, regardless of where you are online, we can deliver our services incredibly fast and incredibly reliable. And that's something that differentiates Cloudflare from any other provider in this space, which is that we have built our systems and we have built our network such that every single application runs on every single server everywhere in the world. And we can restrict with regional services where your data is actually decrypted, where your data actually passes through. But if you have presence in any corner of the universe, we have the ability to deliver all of our services from those places. We don't run 5 or 6 separate networks for 5 or 6 separate divisions of our business. Our zero trust services, our security services, our developer tooling services all run on every single location that we have all around the world. And that means that we can deliver higher performance, higher reliability, better security from anywhere that we are anywhere in the world. What I think is really striking, if you just pay attention to one slide, this is the one that I hope you'll look at. And look around the edges of this and think, am I using any of these different vendors somewhere in my network? Am I providing some service from one of these different vendors? And if the answer is yes, we want to have a conversation with you about whether or not we can help you consolidate your IT spend, give you better performance, give you better security, give you better reliability, and help you save IT dollars, which are more precious today than they ever have been before. When I talk to customers, again, oftentimes they'll be using some portion of our network, and they say, wow, I didn't know all of the things that Cloudflare did. And we can help you deliver on a higher amount of ROI to your business by consolidating across all of these different platforms. And so if you're looking at any of these parts of your business, thinking about how you can actually save money, get better performance, get better security, this is a conversation we want to have with you today. As we think about what the future of Cloudflare is, a lot of you know us for things like DDoS mitigation, know us for things like DNS, know us for things like our performance and application services. But increasingly, customers are turning to us in order to help them on their zero trust journey. And zero trust is one of these words where it almost provokes this sort of visceral reaction in people where they say, ugh, it feels like marketing speak. It feels like something that, you know, I was sitting next to someone last night who said, no one can be truly zero trust. You have to trust someone. I'm like, okay, that's fine. But I've been working in the security industry now for over 25 years. And the fact is that if you actually implement these sorts of tools, whether it's with us or Zscaler or Palo Alto Networks or any of the different vendors that are out there, if you actually implement these things, it's the first thing that we have done at Cloudflare. It's the first thing that I've seen in my entire security career that actually makes you significantly more secure. Earlier this year, or actually late last year, we saw a series of very targeted phishing attacks going after over 130 organizations that were sending text messages to employees that said, effectively, click this link, your schedule has changed. And company after company after company fell for it. I think it's really impressive that Twilio actually came out and talked about exactly how their employees fell for these phishing attacks, but there were actually hundreds of other companies that fell for very similar attacks. And even the most sophisticated companies that are out there, even the companies that know they're constantly under attack, we saw were falling for these attacks time and time and time again. Our employees got targeted as well. We actually had 6 employees click on the link, enter their username and password, fall for it. And again, you can't blame people. People are going to make mistakes. But what protected us was we use our own systems in order to keep us secure. We use our own zero trust technology in order to stay in front of these attacks. And it gives us defense in depth. The best analogy that I've had for what zero trust means, again, forget all the marketing speak, is just think about how we used to build boats versus how we build boats today. Once upon a time, we built boats and we were worried about getting hit an iceberg or getting shot with a cannon or something like that. And so we kept building the holes thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker. But the problem was, at some point, if there was some vulnerability, if there was some hole that eventually got punched somewhere in the boat filled up with water and it sank. And unfortunately, that's how too many people still run security today. You keep piling vendor after vendor after vendor to make the hole thicker. But if there's a hole anywhere in that boat, anywhere in your organization, then an attacker can effectively run wild and create enormous amounts of problems across the organization. We obviously know what we did to fix that with boats, which is we built bulkheads. We've created ways where if a hole is in one part of the boat, yeah, that little area might flood, but it won't spread to the rest of the boat or the rest of the organization. The boat doesn't sink as a result of that. That's how to think about zero trust. How can you make sure that every single employee, every single application, every single bit of data is surrounded by its own bulkhead to protect it so that if someone makes a mistake, it doesn't take your entire organization down. Simple as that, right? Super simple idea. Who came up with it? It wasn't us, it was Google. Why did they come up with it? Because they were constantly under attack by nation-state actors that were going after them. And the problem is that today, those tools that used to be reserved for the nation-states have literally, in the case of the Twilio attack, it's a 23-year-old kid in North Carolina who was using tools that were previously only available to the most sophisticated attackers. This is a huge challenge for people who are online. But the problem is, everyone's made it too hard. And at Cloudflare, we wanted to make it easy. We wanted to make it fast. We wanted to make it reliable. We wanted to deliver it from every corner of the universe. And as a result, we're able to deliver zero trust in a way which is significantly easier to implement, significantly more secure, significantly more performant. And to give you some sense of this, we're 75% faster than Netscope. We're 50% faster than Zscaler in terms of delivering that. To give you some sense of what that looks like, imagine you have an organization with 1,000 employees. Each of them interact with either Zscaler or Cloudflare's access system 100 times a day, which is pretty typical if you have applications and organizations. They work 280 days a year, typical kind of work period of time. If you're using Cloudflare versus you're using Zscaler, you are literally wasting over 300 years worth of time just with people accessing, with the additional spread of time that you have to access it. Is over half a second every day. You're wasting almost over an hour a day per employee with people just wasting time with those access tools. We want to deliver these tools and deliver them because, again, you can make your boat a lot safer. You can make your organization a lot safer, but it's not good enough if it slows your organization down. We use all of these tools ourselves, and if you talk to our team, what they'll tell you is we won't take that time, we won't waste any time that if a security tool slows you down. We need to make focus on performance, reliability, ease of use key. And that's the key for us all to be able to go on that zero trust journey today. So if you're frustrated with the fact that you're using Zscaler and you can't log into United Airlines Wi-Fi when you're flying around, which is insane, talk to us, because you can if you're using Cloudflare services, because we're focused on actual usability and performance that's there. Around the world, if you're going to be accessing tools using zero trust, regardless of what tool you're seeing, we're going to give you a much better experience. And in many cases, we'll actually be able to accelerate the rate at which you're doing that. That's how you get more people to be secure, is you actually make security something that enhances your experience. It doesn't actually slow you down. So we want to be faster to implement. We want to have fewer outages and support tickets. And on average, you have half as many IT support tickets using Cloudflare than you do with any other zero trust vendor that's out there, fewer security gaps, better productivity, and you're able to deliver this all, and we want to make sure that it is a no-brainer. And so we launched our Zscaler campaign, which is to say if you're using Zscaler today, you come to us and we will guarantee you that we will save you a significant amount of money, in most cases half off your bill, if you just replace all of the same functionality with Cloudflare and replace that with Zscaler. Again, it's a no-brainer to be able to deliver these services, and more and more and more of our customers are using us in order to be reliable, be secure, build those bulkheads within our organization. And whether you call it zero trust or not, I want to help your organization be more successful going forward and do it in a way which is much more cost effective. We think of our business in terms of acts. Act 1 was all about securing applications, DDoS mitigation, load balancing, rate limiting, all of the things most of you use us for. 90% of our customers use us for that. Increasingly, about 20–25% of our customers are using us for those zero trust services, and it's one of the fastest growing parts of our business. But one of the things you're going to hear a lot about us talking about is what we think of as our third act, which is our developer tools and our developer platform. And what's key about this is we didn't build this for customers. We built this for ourselves. Cloudflare is customer zero for our own developer platform. And when people ask, how is Cloudflare able to innovate as quickly as we can? The answer is because we built a developer platform that allows us to go incredibly fast. And as we told the story of this to our customers, they said, well, I want that too. I want to be able to go as fast as you do. And so we've actually built that platform and now opened it up to developers. And I think there's some things about this platform which are just incredibly unique. And we're watching company after company after company, both individual startups, but some of the largest organizations in the world, build their applications on top of Cloudflare's developer platform. And today, we have nearly 5 million applications written by our customers running on top of the Cloudflare developer platform all around the world in every single location that we're able to deliver. And so what are those things that we think are really key? What we think is not every application is going to be running by default on us. If you want to take SAP HANA and run it, Cloudflare is not the right place to do it. But if you care about making sure that your application is accessible all around the world, if you care about making sure that your application is as fast as possible all around the world, if you care about things like data localization and data regionality, and you want to make sure that that data is kept in specific locations all around the world, Cloudflare Workers and our developer platform are the key to be able to deliver that. We also think that we want to have all of the different tools in order to build that together. So obviously compute has to be part of it, but we also want to have databases and storage. So we have our R2 object store, which is taking on more and more and more applications and becomes that neutral, independent place where you can store data and use it across any of the different clouds that are out there. We have the network that we can deliver, which extends all around our services, and that network comes with built-in security from the beginning. And what you're going to hear us talking more and more about is how can we make developers more productive regardless of where they are in the world and regardless of what types of applications they're delivering. And so Cloudflare is the first true serverless deployment platform where you don't have to think about any servers. You don't have to think about regions. You don't have to think about zones. When you go to AWS and the very first question is what region you want to be running something in, we think that that's anachronistic. We think that that's the way that you do things in the past. The only region that Cloudflare delivers today is Earth. You pick Earth and you can run anywhere on it. We're thinking about, and we're actually talking to some people about how we can maybe add the moon as a second region, and maybe Mars eventually. But today, when you want to deploy something, the right answer is how do you deploy it to Earth and make sure it runs everywhere around the world? And Cloudflare is the only developer platform that gives you that ability to scale like that. We also think that storage matters incredibly. And what we talk to and where AI is actually driving a lot of innovation is AI companies, amazingly, AI company after AI company after AI company are using Cloudflare. And what they want to do is they always want to look for where can we get the most efficient resources that are out there? How can I find a GPU as cheap as possible at this particular moment? And so before Cloudflare R2 existed, what they would actually do is take their huge training sets and they would store it not just across all of the different cloud providers, but across all of the different regions within those cloud providers. And it was incredibly wasteful. They had to store the exact same data and pay for that exact same data time after time after time again. With Cloudflare R2, they can store it in one place and access it across any different cloud that's there. We are the only cloud that is thinking about connectivity as our first principle. We're the only cloud that is trying to make sure that we're not the Hotel California of cloud providers. We don't want to just trap all of your data in and charge you to take it back out. We want to make sure your data can go anywhere across the entire cloud and deliver the services that you need for whatever it is that you're trying to build. And so as you are thinking about how you build applications in the future, if there are things that you need from us, the team that are building Cloudflare Workers, the team that are focusing on that are here in the room today. They want to talk to you about the challenges that you're having with data and providers and make sure that we're able to give you the best providing systems that you can. And we're also thinking about how we can make the tools of the future make more sense and be more reliable. AI is something that has caught us all. It's just amazing the opportunities that it has. But the challenges are real too. How can you make sure that your customer data isn't getting uploaded into some AI training model that then is stolen in some way? And so we want to give you the tools with our developer platform so that you can control what data gets accessed. How can your developers provide and use these tools? How can you find the most efficient compute model? And so we're launching what is an AI gateway in order to deliver that functionality, giving you the control to allow your teams to use these amazing tools, but keeping the risk of that data leaking out into some machine learning model back under your control and in your business. That fundamentally is what an intelligent network focused on connectivity, focused on security should be doing, and that's how we think about Cloudflare and the tools that we're building for you. If this is a problem you're worried about in your organization, talk to us, because we are building these tools to solve the problems of customers that we're hearing, the problems that we're seeing internally, about making sure that we can take advantage of the amazing things that AI can do, but do it in a way which is secure, reliable, and efficient around the world. And so, as I think about our customers, it's amazing to see what it is that they're doing. A Fortune 500 telecommunications provider recently signed up for Cloudflare, securing over 100,000 of their employees, spanning both internet, public-facing cloud applications, and also their internal applications, giving them a single line of control. Huge organizations are relying on our zero trust systems in order to be fast and reliable around the world. A global 2,000 media advertising conglomerate used our zero trust services to secure 50,000 employees around the world, and they saw productivity from those employees increase because they weren't wasting their time with logins and VPNs and other services that actually slow you down. A Fortune 200 auto parts supplier is protecting over 900 global e-commerce platform sites, giving them one unified platform, regardless of the fact of how the backends of all those services are constructed and controlled. And again, able to give you that unified control that's there. A Fortune 500 retailer building a massively scalable e-commerce developer platform on top of our services. This was an incredible service. These guys were launching and selling some of the hottest video game systems that were out there. And if you've ever tried to buy one of your kids a video game system and been frustrated that the service crashes or that it seems like a whole bunch of bots are taking them down, that's because traditional ways of building these applications don't scale to the load that they needed. And in this case, they rebuilt their shopping cart application on top of Cloudflare Workers, and they were able to find that they were able to scale to the demand of this type of load in order to be able to stay on top of it. If we could just get Taylor Swift to be using Cloudflare Workers, then we'd all be able to go see her services. So if you're just, what I want you to take away is that we do a ton of things, and you're going to hear a lot about that from us going forward. If you're only using us for one set of our applications, I encourage you to talk to us, because Cloudflare is most powerful when we can be the network across your entire platform. And so again, if you think about who on those slides are the vendors that you're using in your applications and in your stack, we want to have a conversation about how we can make you more secure, more reliable, more performant, and have a much higher ROI as you consolidate vendors across your platform. So to talk to you about innovation, because innovation is at the heart of everything that we do at Cloudflare, I'm so excited to introduce Jen Taylor, who runs our product team. Jen, come on up and tell us about our roadmap. Thanks.
All right. Thank you so much, Matthew. Hi, I am Jen Taylor. I am the Chief Product Officer at Cloudflare, and I am thrilled to be with you here today. You are the inspiration for the work we do. The conversations we have in these meetings with you are the inspiration that drives our platform forward. So if you see somebody in a blue lanyard, that's a Cloudflare employee. We want to talk to you today. We want to hear about what you're doing, what you're struggling with, and how we can help make it better. So as Matthew just highlighted, we are focused on being a unified global cloud security platform to help you secure your employees, your networks, and your applications. What I want to do now is actually go one step deeper and talk to you about some of the innovations we've delivered recently on this platform to help you tackle and address the new risks you're facing, as well as continue to make your teams more efficient. I'm going to start first by focusing on our solutions for employees. Now, if you know Cloudflare, you know that we live to innovate, and this is a great example of that innovation. In 5 years, we've built a comprehensive portfolio of solutions that organizations need to secure their hybrid workforces, leapfrogging long-standing incumbents who've been staring at this space for decades. We now provide a zero-trust network access solution, cloud access security broker, data loss protection, secure web gateway, email security, and browser isolation. Now, of course, we wouldn't be Cloudflare if we just stopped there. In January, we announced our intent to deliver digital experience monitoring. As Matthew just talked about, one of the things that we found consistently as we deliver security solutions is that people need the solutions to be performant, secure, and reliable. Just being secure, if you're not performant and you're not reliable, people will find ways around it. And employees are a great example of that. If employees can't get access to the critical applications they need to get their work done, they will find ways to circumvent all of your good security work. And so what digital experience monitoring does is it provides you visibility into the connectivity, the access, and the performance end-to-end from your users, your applications, and your network, so that you can see emerging lags or connectivity challenges and proactively get ahead of them so that you can keep your organization secure. Now, as I mentioned, one of the things that we love about these kinds of events is that we get the opportunity to spend time with you. We also get a chance to chat with many of you one-on-one, and we're always happy to do that. In the conversations that we have with our customers, we hear consistently that one of the things they're most concerned about is data breaches, right? They're reputation damaging. Nobody wants to be the next Wall Street Journal breach headline, right? The challenge is today, in the modern enterprise, much of our sensitive data lives in these SaaS applications. And it's difficult to get visibility into end user access, what they're doing in these systems, and what's happening with the data. So at Cloudflare, when we build product, we like to focus on opportunities for what we call 1 + 1 = 3, whereby tying together and integrating services that we offer on our platform, we deliver solutions that are better, more powerful, easier to use, easier to integrate, than cobbling together solutions on their own. And so tackling breach management has actually been a great example of that. To do this, we've taken our cloud access security broker, right, which monitors that user access and user behavior, and deeply integrated it with our data loss prevention efforts. And of course, because we've built these on the same platform, we've built them from the same fiber and the same fabric, they're easy to deploy, easy to manage, highly scalable, and performant, because there are no hops, no breaks, no risks between the two. Now, the other thing that we've noticed as we've talked to you more about data breaches, and as Matthew sort of highlighted, one of the things we've seen an increasing risk around is breaches perpetrated by phishing attacks. Let's face it, right? Attackers are getting more and more sophisticated, right? They're doing sneaky things like hyper-targeting or actually dynamic URL rewriting to slipstream beyond the mitigations you might have put in place. And again, this is another great example of where we've taken a 1 + 1 = 3 opportunity. We've deeply integrated our Area 1 email security solution with our browser isolation to offer what we call email link security. We dynamically use our threat intelligence to rewrite URLs that we see in flight that we think might be malicious. We alert the user that, hey, by the way, what you might click on, we're not so sure about it. But in the event that one of those things goes awry, if the user clicks on it, we launch it in an isolated experience using our browser isolation. And if for some reason it actually turns out to be an okay URL, well, you're launching it in our browser isolation experience, which is built using our network vector rendering, which actually means sometimes those experiences launch faster than if you'd actually just navigated to it naturally. Now, we've talked a lot about performance. We've talked a lot about user experience. But I think it's important for you all to understand at Cloudflare, when we think about user experience, we're thinking not just about the end user experience, but the experience of using our products and using our tools. It is critical to us that we meet you where you are, that we support you in the way that you want to work, and that we make you faster, more productive, more efficient in what you're doing to deliver the results you need to your organizations. And the investments we've made in our secure web gateway are great examples of that. We continue to deepen our investment in this platform, integrating the ability to inspect HTTP/3 traffic, the ability to bring your own PKI certificates, the ability to more deeply integrate more easily our browser isolation solutions, and of course, enrich the experience with more dynamic, more powerful logging to give you the observability you need. Now, when we talk about protecting end users and protecting enterprise organizations, the zero trust end user approach is just part of the equation. The strategy of SASE, Secure Access Service Edge, is the union of a zero trust approach for end user security married deeply with network security and management. And at Cloudflare, our strategy, our approach, our offering for SASE we call Cloudflare One. Now, I've just spent a bunch of time talking you through the end user security portion of that. That's the purple bits in the slide. But I'm going to shift gears and talk to you now a bit about where we are with our network solutions. For us, it's been critical to build and deliver a cloud-native platform for network connectivity, security, and performance. And we've done it across the stack. We've got a WAN, we've got a firewall, we've got a DDoS solution, and we've got powerful on-ramps to make it easy for you to integrate your network with Cloudflare. We also provide dynamic routing so that the experience you deliver once you bring it to Cloudflare actually gets faster. Now, we appreciate and understand as we talk with many of our customers that they want to embrace this SASE journey. But let's be honest, network changes are a big leap. As we talk with customers, it can feel daunting to rip out your existing network. It can feel daunting from a regulatory perspective, from an IT management perspective to do that. We get it. And that's why we want to meet you where you are. And our Magic WAN connector is a great example of that. Our Magic WAN connector is a lightweight SDK that you can deploy on a physical or cloud-based network. And it will dynamically and easily connect you to the closest network access point on our network. The thing about it is it's simple, it's easy to use, so there's no additional IT management or configuration to do it. It's a way to slipstream and start that journey. For those of you that are further along in embracing cloud for what you do and how you work, we've heard consistently the challenge you have, as Matthew highlighted, most of you are working in multi-cloud environments. Getting your head around managing these different environments in a way that is consistent, getting that consistent visibility, the consistent policy definition, the consistent management is a headache. And that's why we've been focused on creating cloud-native interconnects between virtually every private cloud network provider and Cloudflare. And what this enables you to do is seamlessly integrate these private clouds with Cloudflare so you get that powerful single pane of glass management for visibility, for access policies, and control. Now, I've talked quite a bit about the employee experience. I've talked a bit about the network experience. I want to shift now to talk about our web applications. Many of you know we've been in the web application performance and security space for a while. Specifically on the security side, we have market-leading solutions to mitigate, to stop bots in their tracks, to thwart DDoS attacks, to secure you from vulnerabilities, to contain you from risk, and to help you identify and monitor fraud and client-side attacks. Of course, we continue to innovate in this space, and again, in conversation with you, we hear consistently the risk around API. As Matthew highlighted, modern enterprise organizations, modern web applications are built using APIs. They're critical to the work we do. But every API you put up is a new attack surface. We launched our API Gateway product to protect and secure those APIs. The risk is, of course, the APIs you aren't necessarily aware of, right? That kind of shadow API ecosystem that may exist in your organization. That's where our API discovery comes in. We help you identify and crawl and identify those APIs so you can integrate them into your security policy. And for us, it's important not just to integrate and secure them, but also to add a layer of intelligence on top of it. And that's the work that we've been doing around our API sequence analysis, looking not just is the API connected, but looking and observing the behavior of the API interactions, identifying when things might be going awry, and enabling you to identify and deploy different security mitigations based on different behaviors. Again, that union of that threat intelligence and that security. Now, speaking of threat intelligence, we have a massive corpus of threat intelligence. As Matthew said, we service somewhere between 20 to 25% of internet traffic. Every single one of those interactions, every HTTP request or packet coming across our network gives us signal about performance, but also emerging threats. Kind of like we talked about data loss prevention and the risk of breach from an enterprise perspective, the public-facing corollary to that is fraud. It's hard, right? But what we've done is we've married our powerful threat intelligence with our application security platform to help you identify malicious account takeover, credential stuffing, credit card testing. And we've seen this to be a very powerful and effective solution for helping organizations identify and stop fraud in its tracks. Okay, so one of the things that we've talked a lot about today is security. And we've touched on performance. And one of the things that we've heard consistently from organizations is, I want performance, but not at the expense of security, right? I want security, but not at the expense of performance. And that dichotomy, that trade-off, is like a legacy of a security industry where organizations and providers had to cobble together and stitch together different solutions. At Cloudflare, we've built everything, as Matthew noted on his slide, from the ground up in this unified fashion. And so it enables us to infuse our security solutions with performance and to infuse our performance solutions with security. The thing I love about this, and Matthew touched on it from the enterprise user perspective, but one of the things we do actually daily, actually hourly, actually by the minute, is monitor and observe our performance relative to other providers in the market and are constantly optimizing our network and our investments to ensure we are the fastest. So you can feel confident that if you're using Cloudflare to deliver your services to your end users, you're providing them the best experience possible. Now, of course, performance is not just about the network. It's about finding and more intelligent and more scalable and, frankly, more cost-effective ways to deliver great experiences to your end users. One of the things I love is the work that we've done on our cache over the course of the past year. What we want you all to be able to do is actually deliver more powerful experiences from the edge of our network in a way that is more cost-effective, right? So you don't have those huge egress costs coming out from the edge. And this is my final 1 + 1 = 3 moment for today, and it's one of my favorites. As Matthew mentioned when he talked about our Act 3 products, we built Cloudflare on Cloudflare. And our cache team and our R2 team sat down and said, I think there's something here. We combined our powerful caching logic with the power of our R2 storage solution. By integrating the two, we're now enabling our customers to store more on our edge, reducing their egress costs, and providing the opportunity to offer richer and more powerful experiences to your end users. So you've heard from me, you've heard from Matthew. You can see all of the work and the investment that's going in. But what I actually want to do now is actually invite up Justin Aaron Krantz, who's the VP of Engineering from Major League Baseball, to talk a bit about the experiences he and his organization have been building on top of Cloudflare to deliver to their end users. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jen. My pleasure to kind of talk a little bit about kind of our experience with Major League Baseball and kind of building on top of some of the Cloudflare developer platform for delivering kind of content to our fans. So for the 2023 season that started last month, actually kind of end of March, one of our big things was improving the app experience for our users. And one of our main kind of principles for this season was to make all of the content more personalized. We want to basically know, me personally, I'm a Texas Rangers fan. When I go to our app, I want to see information about kind of the Texas Rangers. If you're a fan of the New York Yankees, you're a fan of kind of the, Philadelphia Phillies, San Francisco Giants, we want to give you kind of that information as quickly as possible. But one of the things is that this forces us to rethink, kind of our caching and our content delivery strategies. So it's important for us to, think about how do we kind of uplift kind of our kind of content delivery. just as a little bit of a retrospective, kind of globally, we had about 172 million minutes watched on MLB TV on kind of opening day, about 42% over our previous high, 10% more kind of online merchandise, 83% more social media views. But I want to dig in on a little bit about kind of our stats, kind of traffic, and this is just about telling the fans about kind of the games that are going on. So we had about a 92% cache hit rate at the edge at Cloudflare. About 6.5 billion kind of requests over kind of opening day weekend. We peaked at about 300,000 requests per second. Edge time to first byte basically averages 13 milliseconds. That's absolutely incredible, kind of a testament to Cloudflare's kind of edge. Our P95 about 96 milliseconds, and our P99 about 236 milliseconds. So, kind of when we had to go to the origin, we were still able to kind of get a really good user experience. One of the things that we did for the 2023 season is we re-implemented our iOS app to basically use a native, had used a native kind of curve, but as we're thinking about how we want to iterate and how we want to make, our kind of faster, we moved to a web view. So basically, our web and our Android devices were already using basically a web view under the hood. For this season, we moved the iOS app. So basically, you're going to get a consistent experience across iOS, web, and Android, all powered by the same web kind of experience. We also, for this season, launched a game day mode on the connected devices. So if you're sitting back on your TV, you're going to go get some of that similar kind of design and kind of experience. One of the features that we're really excited to launch kind of this year is kind of our Game Day 3D. It was in preview last year. We now have it basically available for every free game of the day right now. Basically, as we see here in the graphic, you're getting impossible angles of kind of the player and the bat tracking and the ball, and really being able to follow kind of the experience kind of digitally. And we're basically taking all of our position data basically, and then delivering that to the client, and the local client is actually kind of doing the rendering. Currently, it's available for the free game of the day, and we're going to be rolling this out a little bit more in the coming weeks in this season. One of the other features that we kind of launched this season was live activity. So in iOS 16.1, kind of has some features to basically take the scores of the game. And really one of the constraints that Apple puts on the, you are very restricted as to how much traffic kind of the live activity. So we had to think about, all right, we can't do a polling, and we'll get into a little bit more in a second, but we had to basically build up on the back end, kind of a WebSocket approach to basically push that data and then get it out to kind of the fans. So basically, now that we have this WebSockets, we're doing all of these web standards and open web, we're basically kind of the challenge that was presented to us was how do we get the data to our fans even faster. Kind of the approach that we've used kind of on our game day app. Basically, what we've used since inception is basically the way everybody used to do it with basically long polling. You basically request every 10 seconds. You say, hey, what's the latest state of the game? And basically, on the Cloudflare Edge, we have about a 10-second time to live. If you do some of the math, basically it means you're going to be, at worst case, about 20 seconds kind of behind. The challenge that we had for the team to think about was, what can we do better now that we have this kind of consistent web platform kind of across all of our apps? Can we leverage WebSockets? And, through the work of kind of Cloudflare and all the different browsers and implementations, we felt that the WebSockets are now mature enough for us to be able to kind of deliver that. So taking advantage of the Cloudflare developer platform, using kind of the WebSockets and the durable objects. And one of the key things that we didn't want to have to do was have to go all the way back to our origin to handle all of those kind of WebSocket connections. So it was important for us to kind of work with our CDN partner to figure out how do we handle that kind of at scale. And then kind of once we saw the durable object, kind of things started to fall in place for us. So every live game is a distinct durable object. Every client has a WebSocket connection to Cloudflare's Edge that receives notification when a game kind of occur. So when a pitch is thrown, ball is hit, and then basically when that client gets it updated, it will then fetch the latest game state. So kind of some preliminary numbers from what we've been able to kind of roll out. If you just do some back of the envelope math, if you've been following baseball this year, we introduced a pitch clock, which actually reduced our kind of time of the game, probably about 30 minutes or so, maybe about 25 minutes. We're at about 2 hours and 36 minutes for kind of the average game length. Kind of, if you figure that out, it'll be about a little bit about 1,500 requests per game if you're fetching every 10 seconds. And so that's a fair number of requests. Using the WebSockets and the durable objects, we can actually reduce that traffic. So basically, there's about 500 kind of play events kind of per game. And so basically, there's about 500 state requests that you have to go and fetch. So you get an idea of some of the end-to-end latency that we try to measure. So if you're doing the long polling, kind of the end-to-end latency is about 14 seconds. The key thing here to take a look at is kind of the P95, kind of the our measurements was about 24 seconds on basically the P95. When we start going to kind of the WebSockets and the durable object, average stays about the same, but the P95 gets reduced by a whole 6 seconds. If we take a look at some of our kind of input pipeline, about 10 seconds. All the things that we have to do in order to be able to deliver that takes us about 4 seconds on average to basically just get that through our pipeline before it is able to kind of be served. So again, you can kind of see the P95 is going from about 21 seconds, kind of factoring out all the stuff that we have to do. But then if you go to the WebSockets, it'll go down to about 10 seconds. So, really able to take the leverage of Cloudflare's kind of edge network and basically the WebSockets and the durable object to basically go get kind of information about the game for our fans who are not at the ballpark to get that even faster. So, we've been really excited to kind of work with Cloudflare on this. We've been rolling this out. We'll be continuing to roll it out over the course of the coming season. Thank you all, and I'll hand it back to Jen to wrap up.
Thank you, Justin. As a baseball fan, I'm a Giants fan. It's been great to use the application and really appreciate the partnership and collaboration. Just to wrap it up really quickly, up here is the agenda. You'll see we have 2 tracks today. In the Crossroads Hub, you have a series of tracks, and then in the Landmark Hub, you're also going to find another set of tracks. As I mentioned, find the people in the blue lanyards. The other thing you I would highly recommend, there's nothing like seeing everything we just talked about in action. So please visit our solutions demos booths throughout the day. We can actually talk you through what we're doing and how we're doing it and show it to you in action and answer any questions at scale. And again, find the folks in the blue lanyard. Thank you again for joining us for Connect. We look forward to chatting with you throughout the day.